In this video, we're going to show you how to install the Upstream O2 sensor on your Nissan Murano located under your hood. With the hood open, I'm going to go ahead and locate the battery on the driver's side of the engine compartment. Go ahead and clean this up here. We're going to use a little bit of spray solvent. Always wear safety glasses when doing something like this. We're going to use our 10mm socket. You can use a ratchet or a wrench. We're going to use a little power tool here to loosen this. Okay, wiggle this here and slide it off the terminal and set it aside. Go ahead and open up the cap here. And we're going to go ahead and spray this down with some spray solvent. Now ours is pretty well greased. May not be greased, but you do want to go ahead and clean up the stud here. It's going to make it easier to come apart. Good, use your 10mm socket to loosen this. And go ahead and twist this off. We'll disconnect our cross brace here. It's a 10mm nut here, one here. There's also a bracket here for the computer that attaches to it, so we want to go ahead and loosen that nut and remove it as well. I'm going to spray this down with a little bit of a penetrant. I'm going to use our 10mm socket to loosen the nuts. We're going to be reusing this hardware, so don't lose that. Set that aside. And then loosen the nut here for the bracket. Go ahead and slide that off. This is a J bolt, and it's shaped like a J, and it hooks underneath to secure. Take that out and set that aside. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off. Now with everything removed, go ahead, reach in here and work that battery up and out. Now with the hood open, we want to go ahead and loosen and remove the two bolts holding our air intake here in place. 10mm socket. Loosen and remove these two. I'm going to set those aside. We're going to be reusing those later. And then we're going to go ahead and grab this unit. We're going to pull it up and pull it away, removing it from the air box itself. Go ahead and set that aside. Now right here we have the upper radiator hose, and it's held in place right here by this retainer. I'm going to use my little pocket screwdriver. I'm going to go in here. I want to release this and pull this hose off of this bracket. So we're just sliding this off like so. That's going to allow us to go ahead and put our socket down on the O2 sensor. And we're going to drop our swivel and our extensions down in front of that hose. Now on the top here, you're going to locate the O2 sensor connector right here. It's actually on this little clip. If you follow this wire down and right around down the front, you can wiggle it and you can see it coming down here inside. Now we're going to use our O2 sensor socket. It's a split socket. And this is a 22mm. Drop that down on there. And this is where we pull out that upper radiator hose. Gonna get our swivel in there. And make sure that that is on there as tight as possible. And we're going to see if we can blip this just to break that free. Perfect. I'm going to pull this off. Now on the top side here, we do want to go ahead and disconnect our connector here. I'm going to press in on this tab on the top. Sometimes it's tough to do that, so we're going to pinch this tab on the top here with our pliers. Pull that up and out. All right, we can see this a little bit better. There's a little tab. I can get two hands on this comfortably. I want to pinch and separate this. There it is. Now as you go down, the wire itself might be in another retainer along the way. If so, just disconnect it. Now hopefully we can get down here and unthread this. We should be able to unthread this, just like so. There it is. Go ahead and remove that. Now we have our replacement O2 sensor right here, and on the threads it has some anti-seize compound on the threads. Right up above that, up against the nut section here, is a crush washer. Notice we tighten this down here, that crush washer is going to seat, and then you're going to have a little bit of resistance. Keep on tightening it until it doesn't tighten anymore. Pretty much that gasket will crush and seal this. The other thing is make sure you don't get any of that anti-seize compound on the end of the sensor itself, around the ports. If there is some there, just simply wipe it off before you install the sensor. Now let's go ahead and lower this down inside. As we rotate this sensor and thread it into the port, we're also going to spin the harness with it, because we don't want the wires to bind and break off inside the sheathing. A little bit of patience, you get that lined up and get that in. There it is. You can see that harness turning with it. Now we are not going to use the impact gun to tighten this. We are going to use the socket and our extension, but we want to do this by hand so we can feel how tight it is and where that seating point actually is. All right, right there, our sensor is seated. Let's go ahead and run that wire up and connect it. Now on the new O2 sensor, it does have a little retainer button, just like the other one does. So if the old button is fragile, you can go ahead and remove that off of the connector there and use this one, or remove this one and utilize the OEM. I'm going to prefer the OEM. It's in good shape. I'm going to simply remove this. Slide that off like so. I'm going to go ahead and line up our connector. Go ahead and slide it together. You're going to hear and feel it lock in. Go ahead and press that retainer in like so. And then don't forget to go ahead and bring that wire down, and we're going to tuck it in to this little bracket. Just like so. Now that we have the wire installed in that little bracket for our O2 sensor, let's go ahead and get the upper radiator hose lined up. Just line up with that bracket, slide it up into place, and go ahead and snap that on. Now if you happen to have an O2 sensor check engine light on inside the vehicle, go ahead and use a scan tool, properly clear that code. Let's go ahead and lower this down into position. And we're just going to go ahead and pop our bolts back in there. Once they're both started, we're going to go ahead and snug them down. Now we're going to go ahead and reconnect our battery, and you're all set. Go ahead and lower our battery down and in. Now installing our side hook here, it has the J hook on it. I want to make sure that this hook, when we drop this down inside, that the hook is facing out towards the driver's side fender. So we're going to lower this down, fit that inside this little slot beside the battery, and hook that up. Then we're going to feed this through here. And while holding that so that that doesn't drop down inside, go ahead and install the nut. Now, when we go to tighten this down later on, we are going to have to grab that rod and pretty much hold it into that area. Ours is kind of holding pretty well right now, so I'm just going to run that down by hand just to gently snug that. Now that we have that J hook installed on the other side, we're going to run this nut down, and then we're going to get that nut started on the bracket here for the computer. What we want to do is we want to position the battery so that our brace here runs pretty much between the two caps. If it's not lined up, you can simply take the battery and slide it left or right inside the tray to get that to line up. And you do want this to pretty much be neutrally positioned there, which is perfect. We actually see the marks on the computer bracket where that was lining up. Let's go ahead and tighten down this bracket here. Gently snug it. Now, the important thing here is you don't want to crush the battery with this bracket. So you just gently want to snug it to the point where it's no longer moving. And you want to do it evenly. Now let's go ahead and switch over to a hand tool when tightening these down. It's going to give us a better feel for it. All right, it's not moving, pretty snug, so we're good there. Let's now go ahead and continue over to installing the positive terminal. Wiggle that down, make sure that that is down as far as it'll go. Now you do want to make sure this is good and snug, but you also don't want to over tighten this. When tightening this here, good rule of thumb is go ahead and grab that terminal and try and wiggle it back and forth, and it's pretty snug. That's good there. And if you have a terminal cover, you want to make sure that that is secured as best as possible. Go ahead and grab that negative terminal, twist that on there as far as it'll go, and let's go ahead and snug that down. You can feel it snug down a little bit, and we'll go just a little bit more. Give that a wiggle. All right, we're solid now. At this point here, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.